Hello, welcome to another video. As you can tell from the title and thumbnail, today we are talking about my top 10 priority adult fantasies for 2022. I've already filmed the sequels version of this. I don't know which order they're being released in, but there is another video for sequels that I'm excited for in 2022, which means this is a list of 10 new series I'm starting, slash one that doesn't quite fit into that format, but yeah, I just can't be stopped. There's so many chunky adult fantasy books that I am so excited to read, and I just can't be stopped. I keep wanting to prioritize them, and here's 10 more, so yay! Last year's top 10 was actually really good for me and ended up being a bunch of books that I really enjoyed, so why would I not do it again? Like, it was a great goal to have, and it proved to a certain extent that I do know my own reading tastes and I know what I'm excited about and what I should be prioritising, so fingers crossed I end up really enjoying all of these as well, because I'm really excited about them. Don't expect me to know too much about all of them because my mind is foggy. I am really just going off vibes and other people's opinions, people I trust's opinions, and vibes. A lot of vibes and wild ideas that I think this is possible. So let's just get cracking. Number one on this list, I say number one, they're not really in any particular order, it's just the first one I've grabbed, but we have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is the only one that doesn't really fit into that format of the first in a new series because Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere is massive anyway, but after reading the next trilogy in Mistborn, I want to get to Warbreaker. Do I know what this one is about? No. Will I enjoy it? Probably. Warbreaker is the story of two sisters who happen to be princesses. Interesting. The God King, one of them, has to marry a lesser god, an immortal trying to undo the mistakes he made hundreds of years ago. There's a world in which those who die in glory return as gods. A world transformed by biochromatic magic, a power based on the essence known as breath, which can only be collected one unit at a time from individual people, but it's worth it. By using breath and drawing upon the colour in everyday objects, all manner of miracles and mischief can be performed. I don't have the slightest idea what to expect from this. Magic as you have never seen it before, apparently. Yeah, I'm gonna read Warbreaker. This cover is absolutely beautiful, by the way. I've never noticed the, like, prism of colours that's on it, but it's really pretty. So yeah, I'm gonna continue with Brandon Sanderson, and Warbreaker is one of the next ones I would like to get to. Next up is me being just over-ambitious, a little bit wild, but something about life is telling me that 2022 is the year that I need to start the Wheel of Time. So I got the Wheel of Time books for Christmas from my nan, and Eye of the World, book number 1. I need to read this in 2022. I just have a feeling that this is the year that I need to do this. If it's just the first book in the series that I tackle this year, then absolutely fine. But I just have a gut feeling that this is the year I need to read this. Do I know much about this at all? Not really. I know that people say that the first ones are pretty slow going, and I know there's obviously been the TV series recently, so it's had a bit of a hype resurgence for that. Not that I'm at all interested in the TV show. So from the very little piece I do know about this, there's a prophecy for a hero, and they need to find this hero who can deliver the world from darkness as an ancient evil is stirring. It's an age of myth and legend, and the Wheel of Time turns. What was, what may be, and what is may yet fall under the shadow. So yeah, prophecy, ancient evil, hero rising. It's like a classic at this point in adult fantasy, and I need to read it, so I'm just feeling like 2022 is the year for that. Next on my list is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. The boys are back in town. This one is about a group of guys that used to be like the best of the best mercenaries. They were a hardcore group of guys. And the glory days are over. The glory days are long gone until one of the guys shows up at another one's doorstep with a plea for help. It's like a mission that only the stupid would accept, but they get the band back together. So this group of old mercenaries get back together for this wild quest to go on. It's apparently quite funny, but I think I'm gonna really enjoy this. Something about this makes me also think Greatcoats, because similarly, a band of guys whose purpose has long gone, and they kind of get back together for a final quest sort of thing. Similar vibes. So I think I'm gonna really enjoy this one, and I think the writing style of this might be one for me. I think I'm gonna have a good time with this, so I'm excited. Next up on my list we have King of Ashes by Raymond E. Feist. This is book 1 of the Firemane saga. And this just screams political fantasy to me. I'm very into that vibe, so that's why this is going on here. This is about a kingdom where the royal family's been slaughtered. There are 4 kingdoms that remain and they're on the brink of war. Political fantasy. But the heir to the throne may have survived and been smuggled away. We then have Declan, who is an apprentice blacksmith, who's pretty content learning his craft and being an apprentice, until slavers take him and his priceless knowledge of the ancient method for forging powerful weapons. So Declan's got some knowledge that we need. And then there's a secret island realm where people are being trained as assassins and spies. So I feel like there's probably going to be like 3 different stories converging here. Put all that together, sounds like something I would really enjoy, so this is going on there. Next up on this list, one that I'm really excited about but also terrified about reading, is The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. This one I only was initially interested in because I saw how much it made Aaron from Booked and Busy cry. She was sobbing at this book, and I was like, damn, I want to feel that. But what I know about this is that there is like a group of people that are like bred as warriors, and there is some elemental magic involved, and I think our main character is quite young. Is he like 14 or something? 14-year-old, yes. He's quite young, he's learning his family's fighting ability, but of course war is much closer than they anticipated, and they discover that this empire may be built on a foundation of lies, so he has to master these powers a lot sooner and go to war, I imagine. I think there's more to this as well. I think this could be multi-perspective, because the blurb then talks about Misaki, who married someone and she's determined to be a good housewife, blah 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 blah. Oh, but she used to be a fighter in a faraway country. Oh, the fighter in her claws its way back to the surface. Oh, that sounds interesting as well. So I'm still discovering more about this that interests me. Political fantasy, elemental magic, made Aaron sob. It's got a good recipe, and it's so heavy. It's so heavy. It's self-published, so like it's just really heavy. It's gonna be a workout to read this one. Next up on here I have possibly the biggest book here, which is Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. This one, my interest was just piqued by Cassidy, from Covers with Cassidy. She loves this, and we have some pretty similar tastes, so I'm hoping I'm gonna love this as well. But again, it screams Empire on the brink of war, political fantasy. You're gonna love this, Jade. So that's what I'm hoping for. A shadow has fallen over the Tressian Republic. Ruling families, once protectors of justice and democracy, now plot against one another with sharp words and sharper knives. Blinded by ambition, they remain heedless of the threat posed by the invading armies of the Hadari Empire. The Republic faces its darkest hour. Yet as Tressia falls, heroes rise. Internal conflicts, meaning they're blind to a larger common enemy. Empire on the brink of war, heroes must rise. It's got all of those ingredients to be something that I'm gonna really like. So fingers crossed I do, and definitely how much Cass loves this one is what's giving me the highest hopes for this, so I really hope that I do. No pressure. Speaking of Cass, it would make sense to next up mention The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker, because I am joining Cass in her book club to read the Tidechild trilogy starting in February. What I know about this is that there are two sides of a war, and there are ships made of dragon bones, and a dragon is spotted, and then pretty much whichever side of this war kills the dragon to get its bones will win the war. So it's hunting down this dragon for its bones to win an ongoing war. Two nations at war, a prize beyond compare. I'm really excited about this. This obviously gives me like seafaring vibes because bone ships, I imagine there's going to be some sort of like ship element in here. Dragons, empires at war. This just, again, is screaming that political fantasy vibe at me that I think I'm going to love. Also, something about this just reminds me of the Live Ship Traders by Hobb, which I absolutely adored. So if I like this anywhere near as much as that would be fantastic. But I know they're not like directly comparable, but I'm really excited about this. And yeah, I'll be joining Cass's book club to read this one pretty soon. I'm very excited about it. Next up on my list, I have The Blackhawks by Jadeyraereads. This, again, reminds me of The Greatcoats. Anything that reminds me in the slightest of The Greatcoats is just immediately something that I really want to read. But mainly for how much this seems to hate knights, and that is something present in The Greatcoats. But this is about Chell, who is a knight, and life as a knight is not what Chell imagined it to be. Stuck in a dead-end job to the service of a lazy step-uncle, Chell no longer dreams of glory, he dreams of going home. The kingdom is invaded, and Chell finds an opportunity amongst the chaos to get out of his oath to his lazy uncle, which is if he escorts a stranded prince to safety, he will be released. All he has to do is drag the brat from one side of the country to the other, through war and wilderness, chased all the way by ruthless assassins. With killers on your trail, you need killers watching your back. You need the Black Hawk Company, mercenaries, fighters without equal, a squabbling, scrapping pack of rogues prepared to join the Black Hawks. This sounds like it's gonna be funny, fun, a good time, exciting. I'm mainly drawn to the fact that I think this is gonna be funny. This whole being a knight isn't as cool as you'd think vibe. Yeah, I'm excited about this. But also just the tone from that, dragging the brat from one side of the country to the other. I think I'm going to enjoy this, so winner. Next up on my list, I have Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. This cover is beautiful. I'm excited by this cover. I have not yet read any Joe Abercrombie, and this is where I would like to start. I have been informed that this has some sort of polar element to it. I know that the other cover of this is like a sword and a massive snowflake, so that could be exciting. But this is about Prince Yarvi, who has vowed to reclaim his throne, but he first must survive cruelty, chains, and the bitter waters of the Shattered Sea. Oh, waters again. Perhaps seafaring? I don't know. And he must do it with one good hand. Born a weakling in the eyes of the world, Yarvi cannot grip a shield or swing an axe, so he must sharpen his mind to a deadly edge. Disability rep. Gathering a fellowship of outcasts, he finds they can help him more than any noble could, but even with loyal friends at his side, Yarvi's path may well end as it began, in twists, traps, and the death of a king. I'm excited by this. I'm excited by the prospect, possibly, of something polar about it, but also my first Joe Abercrombie, and Joe Abercrombie is famed in, you know, the fantasy world, so it would be nice to start something of his. I know most people start with The Blade itself from him, but something about the, what's the series called? Is it The Shattered Sea? I think it is The Shattered Sea series. Something about this series just excites me. So yeah, I'm going to start that trilogy, and I'm very excited about it. And finally, the 10th book on this list is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. This is the first book in the Dandelion Dynasty, and I got the beautiful hardback sprayed edge set from the Broken Binding because they were so freaking beautiful I couldn't help myself. So I had to buy them, therefore I need to love them. I really hope I love them. But again, it's got all the ingredients for this to be something that I personally will really enjoy, so fingers crossed that is the case. But again, there's a war. Of course there's a war. The Emperor was the first one to unite the kingdoms under a single banner, but now the Emperor's on his deathbed. People are exhausted by his vast conscriptive engineering projects, and his councillors conspire only for their own gain. Even the gods themselves are restless. A wily, charismatic bandit and the vengeance-sworn son of the deposed duke cross paths as they each lead their own rebellion against the Emperor's brutal regime. Ooh. Together they will journey to the heart of the Empire, witnessing the clash of armies, fleets of silk-draped airships, magical books, and shape-shifting gods. Their unlikely friendship will drastically change the balance of power, but at what price? Shape-shifting gods? And 2 rebellions, like joining forces against the Emperor? The gods being restless as well. This really excites me, and this cover is freaking beautiful. I just really hope that I love these because I have these beautiful editions of these books. But again, has the ingredients to be a recipe that I will end up really enjoying. So fingers crossed on that one. And there we have it. There is my top 10 fantasy TBR. It's really chunky. Let's see if I can pick this up. Yeah. Huh. There we go. Top 10 adult fantasy TBR for 2022. Will I get to all of these? I really freaking hope so. Oh, what a stack. I really believe that this could be good. So, let's hope so. I'm gonna put them down now though, because they're heavy. Whew. Wow, they really were heavy. But yeah, there we have it. There is my top 10 chunky adult fantasy TBR. Fingers crossed I can get to all of them in 2022. Let me know down below if there are any of these that you are also super eager to get to in 2022. I would love to know if we have any in common. And also let me know if there are any that you think I am missing off my radar, any others that you definitely think I should be prioritizing, whether it is this year or next. As I say, there is a companion video to this, which is sequels. I don't know if it's come before or after this, but there are a bunch of sequels that I'm also really excited to get to, so look out for that one. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, give us a thumbs up, chat to me down below and all that jazz, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye!